Hey guys, Ryan here, and I'm really excited to talk to you guys about AI and conversational AI and a lot more. We do this every Wednesday at 2 Eastern time. I'm gonna flip this around. Yeah, I'm really excited to talk to you guys about artificial intelligence. And for you guys that don't know who I am, my name is Ryan. I'm the founder of Accelerate Marketing. We are a digital marketing agency that's been around for almost 16 years, and we've been helping businesses all that time to generate pre-qualified, pre-sold leads using uh, two main strategies. One is Google local service ads. The other is Google business profile optimization, which is changing rapidly right now with the advent of artificial intelligence. Everybody's talking about it. We've got two people, on the backstage that are waiting to jump on. One is Cy. I'm looking forward to talking to Cy, and also to bring S on as well. S has been on our call on a number of times. As you guys know, he's he's no newbie to the AI space, and definitely. Oh, we got Carlos as well, which is going to be an interesting day today, because this is the whole goal for these. Is for me is from the beginning was to make these as a workshop. On Mondays we do a workshop, and we talk about this on our school community. If you guys are really want to get some really good insight into like how to run Google local service ads, either as an agency owner like Carlos is, or S is, and or even Google Business Profile, how to run those, optimize that page for your business or for your agency, then you can join our school community. We also talk about in there like how we have these calls every Monday at 2, Wednesday at 2. You just go to school.com/local lead labs, and then you can text us any questions that you have at 619-304-5155. The reason why I went down this path of AI about 2 years ago was because I had a problem to solve. Every single time that I got on a call with a business owner, they said that they didn't really have any problems with their business. They answered the phones every single time, and every single time that I looked, I found that the calls were actually not being answered. And about 90% of the time, that's what I found. And about 70% of the calls were being answered on average, and 30% were not. So it's very simple. If you just improve the answer rate, and more importantly, if you just get the calls and message leads, et cetera, that you're purchasing or buying from local service ads, and you answer those within 30 seconds, your response rate is going to go up. Your conversion rate is going to go up. You're going to make a lot more money. And that's why we're here. So today we're talking all about AI. Mondays on Mondays we talk about Google local service ads and Google business profile optimization. We are a Google local service ads partner agency, and we have been so for the past 7 years since it started, 8 years. And with that, I'm going to add Cy to the stage, and S and Carlos. What's going on? So hey, Cy, you're new, so let me start with you. What's up, man?
How's it going? So sorry about the background. I'm on the road to Norfolk right now. Check out a rental property. But hope everything's going well with everyone else.
Yeah, it's going great. What are you looking to do? What kind of business do you have?
So I have a real estate wholesale business. So pretty much what I do, my primary business model is I market primarily through SMS, outbound text messages, and reach out to sellers, prospecting, seeing if anyone's considering selling in those homes that need work or so. We work on getting them on a phone call. Uh, we put a property on a contract for a certain price, and then look for an end buyer at a higher price, and the margins is the profit.
I
Yep,
feel like I
I'm
like
very
that
familiar
size
with it.
surviving because this is the philosophy that we would.
Yeah.
We're like, you know what? So business owners can just do whatever they're doing, and then have AI be having conversations with prospects in the background.
Mm.
Yeah. 100%. And you know, Sai, we've actually had a lot of wholesale companies call us because, you know, one of the things that they're one of their first questions is, can you have the AI do outbound phone calls, in order to, you know, because you guys are constantly trying to find the next deal, you know, your next wholesale property. So, you know, if so that's a common question from wholesalers. And to answer your question before you even get there, the answer is yes, you can. And the better thing though is that the AI agent can respond to all the message leads that you get, so that you can actually have the AI agent qualify the person. The problem, honestly, just cutting to the chase. And Carlos, we'll get to you in a second. I mean, I know you got some questions. I really appreciate you being on. He's an agency owner as well. You know, what it typically, wholesalers don't want to spend much money on their, you know, on the AI agents. They think that even the $500 a month that we charge, which is really not a lot if you think about it, because it's $2 a conversation. So really what it comes down to is, what's your time worth? You know, it's like, really, you just got to figure out, okay, what is my time worth? Is it more valuable for me to take all these calls and to try to pre-qualify these people? Or is it better for me to outsource that, not to a call center that isn't open 24/7, that sometimes, you know, doesn't really follow your scripts, and then you have to retrain over and over and over again. And you really, a lot of times, you really cannot rely on them, like I said, actually saying what you want them to say. The AI agent doesn't make those mistakes. And we can actually even make it sound like you. And it's even more human than it's ever been. With speech-to-speech technology, it can understand the way that language, the way that you and I are talking right now. There's no speech to text to speech. So I would encourage you to, you know, to try out. I mean, we can even demo, you know, we can even set up an AI agent for you right now if we want to, while you're driving. That'll be the first time that we've done that for anybody, you know, while they're driving. But, you know, how did you find out about us, and what's your interest in AI?
So I actually went to text. I think it was Text Me is the name of the site, and I actually booked a consultation with Esley, um, saying, "Hey, you know, I've been trying to figure out how I can use AI in my business to optimize it or so." The last month or two, I've been getting into GPTs and all that, you know, nice fancy stuff to figure out the angles or so. And I'm really interested in doing the agent piece or so. Um, I do think one of the things I really work on is I think it's probably made a regulatory thing with Twilio, finding a phone number or some phone numbers that we can plug into that we can use for the agent, because a lot of the messages are outbound cold prospecting. I mean, I just see an article where an order, I guess a court order, mentioned that when it comes to real estate people, they can't outbound people on the DNC or so. But I mean, who knows? I guess it all depends on the phone number operator. So, you know, step one for me is you know, figuring out the regulations and getting it together. And I think step two is just figuring out the calls pattern or so, like the conversations, and just kind of doing the whole pricing. Currently, right now, I have a couple virtual assistants who answer messages or so, in which, you know, they've been doing great at the messages. But you know, like you say, with AI, it doesn't sleep or anything like that. Like one of my current ones, unfortunately, she had a death in the family. So right now, like, I had to take over, and a couple other people take over, and we're not as good as the person, the people that were working it right now. Um, so just having that technology and just having her, she's pretty smart. Having her work on higher priority tasks instead of messaging sellers, especially most of the ones we come through aren't interested in stuff like that. So yeah, I just want to use AI to get through a lot of the crap. And people who want to, that's good for follow up, we can place them in follow up. People who want to talk within 24, 40 hours, we get them phone.
Those are really good use cases. And it looks like he froze up, but and then Carlos, what use cases do you have? Yep. 1 second.
I think the main thing is how good is it at actually responding to like text messages and stuff? Like, can it book appointments via text, like an in-person appointment? Like, can it
Yes.
read calendars, or is
Yeah,
it
so-
not at that level yet?
Yeah, so the AI agent can absolutely, even text is actually even easier than voice to book an appointment, because what the agent's going to do, Carlos, and this is the same thing that you could do in your business side, is the AI agent will actually text a link to your calendar or whoever's calendar for the businesses that you're working with. It'll just text the link to the calendar. It's really easy. But even now with the AI agents and how good they are with voice, they're very good at understanding what words, like when you're repeating or when somebody's saying their email address. It's very good at understanding the email address. So it can hear the email address and then add it to the calendar appointment with the voice, like on the phone. I would say that's probably the more challenging way to actually schedule a calendar appointment is over the phone as opposed to via text. So as long as we have that calendar link, as a matter of fact, I would even say that we prefer to send the calendar text or send a calendar link via text, even when somebody's on voice. So what'll happen is the agent will say, you know what, I know you want to schedule an appointment. What I've done is I just texted you a link to schedule an appointment so that they can actually find out when they're available and do that. It's a much easier process than going back and forth and saying, are you available from 2 to 3 on whatever day, and then doing that. So we found that to be a better process. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. And then the other question I had was like, let's say we end up opening like 2 GMBs, like one in Stockton, like for the pool construction company that I'm helping out with.
Mhm.
One in Stockton, another one in Sacramento, which is like an hour away. So 2 separate locations, and we run LSA ads for both of those, because of like radius. Radius is like one of the R's. Would you recommend like getting a separate AI bot, like so the tracking is completely separate, or how would that work?
That's a really good question. What you can do is we could see what I would recommend is using something like CallRail, call tracking, to purchase multiple numbers. And then what I would do, either CallRail or RingCentral, we've been working with them for years. We're actually partners with CallRail. They're based out of Atlanta. And what they'll do is they do 3 things really good. They actually track calls, which is what they do, is call tracking. So they can track where calls come from. The other thing that they can do is they can do what's called a call flow, meaning they'll ring certain numbers during certain parts of the day and other numbers during other parts of the day. And then the other thing they do really well is do a call delay, meaning what they'll do is they'll actually call whatever numbers that you want for the first 20 seconds. And if they don't answer, it'll then go to the next phone number, which is typically the AI, to make sure the call gets answered. And then S and I like to call this the plumbing. So this is the plumbing that you need in order to use the AI. So what you're learning is how to set up the plumbing, which is probably the most important thing. A lot of people don't think about it. But the plumbing, if you don't get the plumbing right, just like in a house, right? If you don't get the plumbing right, things ain't going to be good, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the same thing with AI. If you don't get the plumbing right, everything's all screwed up. And the third thing that these call tracking systems do is they allow you to set up what's called SimuCall, where you ring multiple numbers at the same time. So that all these 3 features that I mentioned, they make it so that you'll notice they make it so that the calls are more likely to be answered quicker. And so what I would do for your specific situation, Carlos, is I would purchase a number on CallRail for one location and another number for the other location, and have both of those numbers forwarded to the AI so that you know when somebody's calling one location versus the other.
Got it. And like the AI will say call is coming from XYZ.
Yeah, you'll see where the AI will be able to see where the inbound call is being transferred in from. Yeah.
Wow.
And you may want to specify, because you have 2, and here's another way to do it, is to even list out all the the cities or the areas between the two, right? And like have one AI that they're kind of checking, but then depending on like you're gonna ask, hey, where are you, right? What's your location, right? And then one differentiation there. It's all within the prompt that you can have different behavior. Oh, for this location, we're located here, or for where you are, the location that would service this is this.
Yeah. How do you guys go about prompting? You guys just feed it like a 10-page knowledge base, or?
No, it's literally like, okay, this is a good question. Because so much of what AI is, the job of the future is prompt engineering, right? And prompt engineering is literally no different from you writing a job description. If you were to write a job description hiring a rep and say, okay, well, you're an intake specialist for this company, right?
Yeah.
Like what you would say to a person is literally the same thing what you would give the AI. So if you go, okay, if you're in the Sacramento area, give them this address. This is literally what you would tell to the person you're training, right? But it's just written down.
Yeah. Damn, that's crazy. Holy crap.
So prompt engineering is not a technical skill. It's a 100% communications / management skill. So a lot of times people will be like, well, we have law firms, right? They're like, I don't want to give them legal advice, right? I'm like, great, changed. They're like, how's that done so quickly? Because I'm like, I literally just typed in what you just said. Do not give legal advice. Done. Call it a day.
Yeah. Damn. Okay. Wow, that's pretty solid. All right. Well, that's good to know. Appreciate that.
And so, like, in a way, what we find from a lot of companies, they'll we'll ask them about, like, okay, what would you like it to do, right? A lot of companies don't actually just think about it, right? Because they've done this all manually with people, and we're like, look, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. All right, fine. You just brought an intake specialist on, 6 months ago. Just give us the job post that you gave to hire that intake specialist and copy that text in.
Yeah. Dang. Okay. That's pretty cool. All right.
Yeah. So
That's good to know.
So what you're saying is that, and I see, Sai, that you might be offline for a few minutes here, which is okay because you're going to be in like a dark zone. But what I was saying is, oh, you're going through a tunnel. Got it. I see the tunnel now. So is it you could have the agent respond differently based on where the incoming call is coming from, correct?
Yeah. You would just say, if in the Sacramento area or in, whatever area, and then you're taking the spin of the dice of whether the AI knows, this area is closer to one or the other. But it's like, again, it's like a person, right? It's like if you hired somebody right now and I'm calling from Riverdale and you're like, does this person know which neighborhood, which of the two locations is closest to? Well, you have a better bet with AI that's been trained by, billions of dollars, right? And it's going to get smarter too. So again, it's rolling the dice on a person, whether they know.
Yeah, it is.
Totally.
And Alfredo says, I got leads, but no one cares how I got the leads. Give us some more information about that, Alfredo. I want to know what, if you're a business owner, let us know what kind of business you're in. Give us a little bit more detail. By the way, anybody, if you have questions, please ask. I'm going to actually put the invite here in the comments so that you guys can join. If you do want to join, you can join live. You don't have to show your camera even. You can just, use your microphone and ask any question that you have about your business. Door-to-door client representative via Horizon. Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
I want to kind of add this point to your business side, and this was what I told you in our initial call, right? We get a bunch of wholesalers come through, and they want to do outbound because they got it from the list, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, I got a list of 10 people long that want to do outbound. Half of those are wholesalers, right? Outbound calls, if you have to be okay with 90% of the calls being filtered out, right? Because I call it a cat and mouse game with outbound. In the last 6 months, my Dialer app into my phone, right, will automatically filter it because it suspects it's a spammer, right? So if you're looking at highly motivated leads, and forget about this as being cold, you're still talking about a success rate, a connect rate of like 10% at best. And people have done studies on this, right? They go, hey, somebody fills out, they go to a website, they fill out a lead form. So they're highly motivated, right? And they did a follow-up outbound call to them, and still it was only a 15% success rate. These are people who want to be called, right?
Yeah.
And so when you start looking at the list of, if you're kind of doing this cold, right, the success rate might be 1%. And it doesn't make sense for, like, in a way for us, like, the reason we pushed off outbound, especially calls, is first of all, the world has gone to SMS, right? And there's slightly different regulations on that, right? Like they have to opt in, right? But we resisted on the outbound because it's expensive for us. OpenAI charges 20 cents per minute, right? You have Bland that's at 10 cents. You have all these other companies that's at whatever cents, but you're still going to blow a ton of money just on that cost alone, right? And it's not the best experience on the other end. So, that's where we go, hey, when you've captured lightning in a bottle, right? Like there are certain use cases that it's better for. And I think it's with kind of outbound, everything that a human says in the initial conversation. By the way, when people go, hey, do people want to talk to an AI? You're like, hell yes. Because look, as is, you call a business now, or you text the business, and you get the press 1 for English, let's do Spanish, right? A lot of these are like,
English.
Time somebody contacts a business, they don't care. They reached out. They want to get straight to the point. What do I have? What do I need? How much is it? Can you do this? Right? And like, that's why the internet is big. That's why people don't call anymore, because they'd rather get this information and do the filtering out up front. And if the business on the other side could only up their game to mirror what that initial lead wants to know, and that's exactly what the AI is. I'm not blasting out like the 10 different things that I have for you to just find and browse. You tell me what your problem is. I'll tell you whether we can handle it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like we got about 10 people on, and got a lot of people joining from like X, and X is really hot right now with all the I don't want to get into any political stuff with the Trump and Elon thing. X is like on fire right now. But we got Accelerate. We got people from YouTube. Alfredo brought up some really good points. He's a door-to-door rep. I didn't, it was kind of cryptic, but now I understand what he's saying. He's a door-to-door client representative for Verizon, and he said why are businesses not going door-to-door? Everyone is depending on AI to get leads. Face-to-face still works. I agree with you. Look, it does work. Actually, I think right now even more than ever, face-to-face and dialing for dollars works more, because as we get into more of an AI space, I think that people are going to be yearning for that impromptu, personal, in-person, high touch, high customization, whatever it is, entertainment, it doesn't matter really, or sales even. People might even be so yearning for human communication that they might welcome you into their home because they haven't talked to a human for a while. They don't need to. And so we're in full agreement with you that, look, door to door is always going to be successful. I mean, if you can do it, more power to you. What we're trying to do is make it so that we are able to communicate with the people that are inbound calling our businesses or the businesses that we represent. And so that we can wade through that ocean of leads that these intake businesses get, like attorney firms or pool contractors, like Carlos was talking about. And those are great opportunities to hand those conversations over to an AI agent so that the agent can actually qualify the person, or in Sai's case, qualify the homeowner. Because Sai, I guarantee you're maybe, you probably talk to 20 or 30 homeowners before you find one that's going to be a good deal for you, or maybe more than that. Yeah. So you've got a lot of wading through leads to get to that qualified lead. And so, and by the way, if you guys, want to learn more about this, you can go to our, you know, you can go to school.com. You can text us at 619-304-5155. Let me go back to this comment here because Alfredo said, my background is computer science and cyber defense, dev, security ops emphasis. I've been in operations 20 years in a variety of business. That's awesome, man. StreamYard platform for sales interaction. And well, not really StreamYard for sales interaction, but look, what we're saying is like, look, I've been just, you didn't see the beginning maybe, but I've been an agency owner for the past, 17 years. And what we do is we help businesses with Google local service ads optimization and Google business profile optimization. Those are two strategies that are offered on Google, and they're digital. So those leads are going to come in digitally, and a lot of them come in via the phone. The number one problem that we have is that business owners do not answer the phone. So this is solving the problem. The AI agents are solving the problem. If I were you and you're trying to generate leads, I was even just watching a YouTube video about this earlier. I agree 100%. I think the next biggest search engine is not going to be Google. It's going to be YouTube, because people are looking to learn how to do things, and the YouTube is still a great place to find things like that people want to learn about, outside of just getting the answer quickly from the LLM, which is rapidly changing. People don't want to go and do the research. They don't even want to, even if Google gives you 3 businesses that have great reviews, they'd rather go to an LLM like Perplexity and type in who's the best contractor in, Ann Arbor, Michigan, and then have Perplexity figure it out based on all the reviews and summarizing all the reviews and going and doing like a deep research, to find out. It's almost like getting a referral now. It's a referral from an AI, which is crazy. So that's the world that we're headed to, because search engine optimization is going away. It's actually like what's happening is there's a lot more traffic to the sites, but there's fewer conversions is what they're getting. They're getting websites blogs are getting a lot of traffic, but they're just not getting conversion. They're not getting actual phone calls. So any questions you guys have, please ask. Carlos, any other questions? Sai, any other questions from you guys? We can demo the agent as well.
Oh, you're muted.
We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was looking online, and I guess about AI, and they mentioned I guess some people are experimenting with like injecting code into their website, so the AI agent will pick up on them on a search, a query. Have y'all done anything like that, or heard anything in regards to that? I guess with SEO, you engineer your website for SEO things, but I guess for AI.
So I think what you're asking is how do you optimize for AI, basically, or LLMs? Yeah. So that's a good question. There's actually a strategy that's working right now, and it's very interesting. It's about what you want to do is you want to create a listicle, they call it, which is just basically a long blog post, which is an old school strategy that's working right now that LLMs are picking up on. And what you want to do is you want to identify, like if you're in a certain vertical, you want to identify basically why people would want to select you as a business, and then add other businesses as well, not just yours. So you want to also talk about other businesses in there, but you want to talk about like all the reasons why, or what people should look for, really, I think is the best thing to do. What people should look for in a business that is in your vertical. And then, highlight like your business and what you do and how you align with those, and then highlight other businesses as well. That seems to be working right now, because what these LLMs are doing is they're going out and they're doing like deep research to find out like where the reviews are coming from for your business, like what, not just Google, but what Yelp is saying about your business, what Home Advisor is saying about your business, etc. So you want to make sure what Facebook, Instagram, a lot of people are going to TikTok as well. And other social media platforms, the Gen Xers. Can you hear me now? Sounds like an old Verizon. Oh yeah, we can hear you. I can't hear you. I hope you can hear me. But what else? What other questions?
I mean, I guess I'll add in a comment about the Google. Um, right now, generative search is number one for me when I type in most queries into Google, right? So let's just think back 10 years when they started doing promoted ads, law firms, for example, it was a $70 keyword, right? And that was the PPC ads. That was number one. It displaced the organic one, right?
Mhm.
Now, if you search law firm, right, it's showing you Google LSA, and those leads are $700, right? And now Google just decided to cannibalize the thing that made them one of the most profitable companies in the world by having that number one search result be generative AI. So I'm glad you asked that question, Sai, because whoever figures out how to optimize for being on ChatGPT, right? If you say, "Hey, I want a pickup truck or the best, contractor in this area," right? It's a lot of people are going to be asking ChatGPT, and if you show up as number one, like that's a SEO completely gives way to AI LLM optimization, right? And I'm dying to read somebody who's published something on that. Whoever is an SEO expert should just change their job and just say AI optimization expert because that's where it's going. And then I'll give you another data point on just how where SEO stands next to AI. A while back, one of our agencies created a bot for their website, right? I didn't know what the website was. I Googled the name of the website and their location. And guess what shows up on Google search before the actual website goes up? Our chatbot that was tagged with H1 headers, chat with this roofing company in Florida, right? So just giving you guys a sense of how Google is even weighing their algorithms, right? There's a sandbox penalty. As soon as you create a website, you don't get indexed for 8 months. We tell people to go throw $5 at a Google ad just to show Google that you're serious enough that to spend money on your own company so that you may show up on page 10, you know, 3 months later, right? Instead of never showing up on Google Organic. But the fact that when we put up a website chatbot the following day, it was up, goes to show how Google is weighing its algorithms. And I do think this does not get discussed enough. Dwell time cannot be faked. Everything else can be. If you did paid to get on a listicle, paid to be published or get earned media or do PR on all of that, right? You can kind of fake it. You can pay to play. But there's something about dwell time on that chat widget that when you ask, hey, okay, you need a new roof? Tell me like where you are. And they stay on that page for 5 minutes. Google's like, you can't fake that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And so adding these chat agents, because the time on site goes up, definitely helps the search engine optimization. And for now, and I think it will in the future. And it also increases the likelihood of conversion rate. Alfredo said, and I don't really understand, it says, the Amazon example, an order is made and complete is a promise to deliver. I don't really know. I like my question and insight is ignore and I'm 6 months. Okay. I don't, can you hear me now? Sounds like I don't know. Okay. I don't know if you can be a little more specific, Alfredo, on your questions, that'd be great. And then, yeah, I agree 100%. Adding an agent, a conversational AI agent to the website, and we can show, there's all kinds of examples. I mean, I can show my screen so that people understand, what that is. But basically, it's just a chat widget on a website. So, here, let me just go to Google. Oh, what the heck? Hold on one second. And then there are, by the way, there's other video agents now that you can actually. So this is the chat agent right here, and so this is somebody would interact with this and say, yeah, I am. And by the way, these chat widgets have a bad reputation because these were all powered by the old technology until probably about 3 or 4 or 5, 6 months ago. And now these agents, though, people aren't used to them being powered by LLMs where you can actually get answers to your questions. But the challenge is just getting somebody to actually engage with it, and that's where, there's new technology where you can actually have a video of yourself here. And I showed this to Carlos the other day. And I know S has deployed this for one of his clients. What's the name of that?
It was Tavis.
Tavis, yeah. Tavis.io. So just like this, so here's an agent. So yeah, you can start a video conversation. So he can hear, understand. So this is an example of like a video chat. Oh, see, I don't know. Yeah. Can you guys hear him? Can you hear him? Yeah. I don't think you. Anyway, so that hopefully you guys saw that. So that's a video, an AI video. So you could have something like that even on your website now. So there's a lot of options that are opening up for AI where it's not just the old chat, what people equate with the old chat bot. This chat bot is not the old chat bot. This is powered by an LLM. It's smart. It can book an appointment. It can speak in, I don't know, tens, if not hundreds of languages. And it can do anything that a human can do. So these are, that's the age that we're in right now. And when you have something like that on your website, that's where you can, it really helps to create more engagement. This is what S was talking about. When you put one of these on your website, people end up spending more time on your site. And that's what allows you to rank higher in the search results. So,
and I'm trying to put on my crystal ball here, right? Where, okay, what does search AI LLM optimization look like? And my best guess is it's probably going to be the best of what SEO is. And you think about what happened with SEO in the last 10 years, right? The reason these listicles do so well is because they can put yourself in the imagination of the user. Okay, I'm only looking up contractor because I'm looking for a contractor. So what's better than a listicle that lists out 10 with the pros and cons of each of them, right? So like Google in their algorithm has been prioritizing the value to the user. And I feel like I've been ripping on, enterprise websites forever. Enterprise websites are shit. I go to most enterprise websites, especially on tech, and it's like, innovative technology solutions, and we solve these problems, and look at our products that are this, right? It was very much oriented around what the company does, right? And by the way, most sites will do a terrible job at that, right? And the pages that we always found did really well were the ones that were geared right towards the user. Let me think of a consumer profile, the questions I might ask, and just have that page dedicated solely to this profile of somebody, right? So that they can be educated. And so the initial versions of, okay, so let's talk about ChatGPT and OpenAI. Their initial models basically scrape the internet, right? So if you ask what's the best pickup truck, he already has an idea of 10 pickup trucks because it scraped the internet. There were enough articles about Chevy Silverado or whatever it was, right? And fast forward to now, certain models will look up things in the internet, right? So that it might actually type in what's the best or most reliable pickup truck, right? And look at those top 10 search results and basically reinforce the things that search engines have already said, and basically just Reddit gave it to and that's how we do research, but AI just does that a little better, right? And so instead of thinking about how do I optimize for search engines? Optimize what the value you provide to the person who might be searching the search term is. And I think that's an underlying principle that, search engine that's why SEO experts will say it's very niche. I don't have a one size fits all. It really depends on your business, because it really depends on what that customer that's looking for that business is looking for.
Yep. Yeah. No, I agree 100%. And you optimize, for the solution. And I that's really, and this, is a topic that I think a lot of people have questions about. But I think that Alfredo asked another question, and AI adds an extra layer that is not really necessary to get an order. Use AI for something else instead of replacing a salesman or advertiser.
Yeah, it's replacing your website, Alfredo. Okay, look, when somebody goes to your website, for example, right, and we started changing that initial opening message, not to be like, "Hi, I'm Alexa. How can I help you today?" Right? And it's going, if you're a contractor, what's wrong with your house? Right? So it allows somebody to go in and have that conversation right away, so that they don't have to browse your website and look at your 10 different product offerings and services and just talk about what service they provide. Right? So yes, it's replacing things. It's also replacing your website, probably first and foremost, and it's probably replacing that answering service that isn't helpful and gives you 10 menu items with hours and directions before you even say a goddamn thing, right?
Yeah.
So the world has already shifted away from humans. It's called website. It's called social media. It's called all these digital channels where somebody could be up at 4:00 in the morning searching for a lawyer, right? That humans just aren't equipped to do. So in a way, it's actually returning the human worker to doing what it was supposed to do. Instead of managing social channels, websites, all of that, be a contractor. Let your AI take care of everything else, the digital channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he also asked about how about IBM Watson? How is that used in your solution example?
IBM Watson.
Yeah.
IBM has been relevant for 20 years.
Yeah.
They missed everything. They became a consulting company, and they try to keep up with technology now by publishing expert AI things to upsell their consulting. This is even a level beyond that, right? There's a certain level that fits for. It's your multi-million-dollar organization that spends a $1 million budget a year on consulting, on tech consulting, right? But what is beating these companies are the small business owners equipped with AI now that can pop up something that offers value to the user, right? That's niche. And so I think, you bring up IBM Watson. I'm like, are they still around?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. That's almost what I said. I agree. So there's a lot going on. We could test out the AI agent. If there's any other questions, I mean, it's 12:44. We usually wrap it up at around 2:44. We usually wrap it up around 3:00. Just want to see if there's any other questions. The AI assistant is, he said the AI assistant is an assistant to the human. I see. Yeah,
exactly. It's the executive assistant, the receptionist, the front desk that speaks 100 different languages in whatever language the person speaks in, right? And goes by a company script. It is the ultimate AI employee. And I will tell you, as a business owner, I used to have lead forms. I used to have email addresses, and half of those would be marketing anyways, right? And now I don't answer any of those. I never got back on those lead forms. I might have replied to 1% of the lead forms that came in, but instead now my AI is having that conversation. I just get to wake up in the morning, look at the 50 conversations it had, cherry pick the one that was actually serious, and I would even add the whole attitude of collecting a lead form. Users to websites go, God forbid I give you my name and cell phone number so I get on some list for spam. They don't, the AIs that we put out, we push the businesses not to collect that information because it's just going to waste everybody's time. They're going to put something fake anyways, right? Get to the very end and be like, okay, we can help you with this. So by the way, what's your name and what's the best way to reach you? The rate at which that gets completed is like 80+%.
Yeah.
And you've filtered out all the the unserious people.
Yeah. And I agree. And Daniel Martinson, I have a question, but not sure how to ask. You can, chat away. Put the chat in there. You can jump in here. I did post. You could jump in if you wanted. I put a link here. You can actually jump in.
Hey, sorry, you mind when we put you on the spot and I just pull up the bot that you created and just start working on the prompt?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. And then Alfredo said, ask Daniel Martinson. Okay, awesome. And then can AI solve crime too? Good question.
Hey, AI is just as good as a human. So if people can do it, AI can do it. If people
right.
can't, all right.
Go ahead and
So
share.
I don't know if you guys see my screen.
Okay, go ahead. There we go. There's your screen.
All right. So nice title. So Tired Landlord Hotline starts here. So everybody gets the benefit of seeing this. I hope I don't put you on the spot, Sai. If there's something in the script that you don't want me to see, feel free to stop me.
Yeah.
But see, what I said earlier about the job description, right? You can see this as being a job description plus the training materials that you give to that call center employee, right, on what their script is, right? You are a virtual representative named Audrey for Sai Buys Houses, which buys custom houses as is from people who are looking to sell the property. You're talking to me, a potential seller of the home. You are to ask questions to gather if a person is opening to selling their home and collect information such as property address. So this is kind of the lead form stuff. Learn about what I'm looking for and be helpful. Okay, that's great. By default, these AI models try to be helpful. So I actually even err on the other side of like filtering me out, qualifying me, right? Speak to me in the same language I speak to you. That enables so that when somebody calls or texts in French, right, it speaks French to them. As the conversation progresses, emulate my conversation style. That's also good, because right, there's something about the magic of conversation. Like we don't want to hear a script from somebody that's overly salesy. We're out of energy. You can answer questions in the style that's most receptive to a seller's disc profile. Okay, so you had thought about the psychological aspect based on Tony Robbins. That's great. All right, and then you go through kind of a slight branching of the logic. You give some background information. Well, if it's in Alabama, here's the number to give. Okay, so great. Let's test this out. All right. I like that you said still got a place you're looking to part with. Yep. My home of 20 years.
I got that. That's definitely AI too.
Nice. Use AI for the prompting. It's a long time to be in one place. All right. Are you considering selling your home and what? It's run down. My kids grew up in it, and we found a smaller place. All right. It sounds like you have some bittersweet memories here. Selling a home, especially. All right. So this was great, right? Is like you've already kind of hooked them in with the sunk cost of time investment, right? Kind of asked some personal questions, not really gotten to the can I get your name yet? I would even push this further below and do the qualification before this side, right? And just be like, hey, tell me about the house. Like, it's nah, but it's a 1,200 square foot 2-bedroom ranch in Arlington, Texas. You get it. All right.
Oh, and by the way, we have Daniel on as well. Daniel, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing? Can you hear me?
We can, yeah. What?
Okay,
Well, let's finish this and then we'll get to your question. Okay.
Cool.
And-
Thank you so much.
And so in the prompting, So I told you side, I would push that a little further down, right? Just in where you're prompt. But let's just say it was some kind of behavioral thing and it doesn't do that. And you're looking at this from the perspective of, hey, Sai, you wake up in the morning, you see this conversation, and you go, like, you know what? I don't like the fact that it asked it this, right? And it's more, stylistic. You might just say, hey, okay, well, that wasn't helpful. Thumbs down on that. Take this off, right? And teach it that way. So this is the equivalent of like if you sat next to your sales rep, right, for the first 20 calls and said, hey, 9 out of the 10 things that you said were good, that one you got wrong, right? You're doing this, but more efficiently, right? Hit save, and now you've trained or taught the AI, right? It's called reinforcement learning from human feedback. And that's how they train all the major models. Like 2 years ago when, when Google was testing out Bard, ChatGPT, or OpenAI was testing out theirs, they had this, and they made all the employees go thumbs up, thumbs down, right? To do that reinforcement learning. So again, this is what you would do. A good manager would do with an employee, right? But now you just get to do it more efficiently.
Yep. So there's a few ways to train it over time. And that's, in addition to the knowledge base or just uploading files, there's, basically the agent reads the knowledge base and goes through it before it responds to any question. So it's, the knowledge base is very important in addition to obviously the prompt. So prompt, knowledge base, and then fine tuning are the 3 ways to train it.
Yep. And this would be what, that knowledge base. You don't have anything on the site right now.
A side by Richmond Houses. Yep, that one.
Do this. Oh, look. And Sai has the chat widget up. He listened to our advice. And we could tell you want to put it in page, right? As opposed to the lower right. That was the behavior that, Ryan was saying. We've learned to ignore that chat widget, right? Yeah. Now it's just front and center. And I won't do it now, but I'll just show people how easy it is, right? If you said that's great website, because I don't want to contradict anything that like you might have put in, but all the information that might be on that website now goes into the knowledge base of the AI. So if somebody goes, hey, where's your office located? You don't need to type that in the prompt. It's already scraped your website.
Yeah.
So,
yep. Yeah, that's a good. So that's an example, and then you can call it as well. I mean, it's got the voice. That's the other thing is you can call it. It's very easy to. So it's one phone number for voice, for chat. As far as we know, there's really nobody else that has that technology. So Daniel, what question do you have?
So thank you. So I run a small agency and mostly do meta ads and follow up through high level. But I ended up with a client who's in water damage restoration. He's in Phoenix. He's in a large metro area. And he's hired me to do the meta ads and the GHL and stuff. But he has a knot he wants me to help him untangle, and it's right up your alley. So he had another agency that had control over his GBP and his LSAs and also his website, right? So a typical problem, like they build it for you, they own it, and then they don't give it to you. Yep. And you would know the agency if I told you. Yep. And so I'm trying to get him out. So I told him I'd help him with that, and then also with his LSAs, because I have other clients who have LSAs and GBP that I run for them. But you guys are, the best, and so I thought I'd come to the best, hat in hand, right? And so he, I'm just gonna So I have the client. He's asked me to button up his GBP and his LSAs. I wrote this out in case I had to throw it in the chat, but it'll be easier just to read it. Yeah. So I'm managing these for him. And I haven't done very many of these from the start, right? I have them already come to me and I manage them and I help them get reviews and stuff. But so the main sticking point, as I said, is another agency controls his LSA and his website. So he can't give me admin access to the LSAs. He's trying to extricate himself from the other agency, but that hasn't happened yet. Yeah. And so his account is but his LSA account is still verified. So he can start the ads at any time. But before he runs them, before when he was running them, he said that the leads that he got were no good. They mostly were spam, and the agency wasn't going in and marking them, as booked, and they weren't giving them a 1 to 10 smiley face or any of that stuff. And so it wasn't learning, right? And so it was just kind of they were just setting it and forgetting it, as you probably heard this before.
Yep.
So I have two questions. One is for the LSA. So what would you advise him to do? Would you advise him to push hard to get that LSA account extricated from the other agency? Because if he starts running those LSAs, it's still under them, and I'm probably not going to be able to go in and manage it. And so it'll be a weekly call of me saying, Mike, you got to go in and say, yes, I booked it. No, I didn't. That's one more thing for him to do, and he's paying me to do it.
Yeah.
And so are there any tricks? I mean, I'm guessing that legally he owns it, right? I mean,
Well, that's what we thought. I mean, but time and time again, when we tried to get access, we've gone to Google, and we've got partner support. Every Wednesday we meet with our partner support person. It's not your typical account managers that
right,
account whatever that you get the customer.
That's
service.
why I came here to you, because I know you guys have that.
Well, I mean, so what you would do? I mean, yeah, he definitely needs. I mean, why does the agency not want to give it back to him? Like they're just.
I think right now it's just they're not prioritizing him.
Yeah.
I think that we're not even 10 business days into my relationship with him, and so we're still at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's done, and we only confirmed for sure that they own that was the problem. Like last night, finally on a call, I got on a call with the support rep, and he's like, I shouldn't tell you this, but this is who owns it. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so third or fourth time's a charm. So we know who owns it. We've verified that's the problem. So I shouldn't make it sound like they don't want to give it to him. He's called them and they haven't called him back, but how forceful that's been and how well he's defined the problem, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we just want to have a couple minutes left. I mean, you can join, by the way, join our school community, school.com.
I did that for last week. Yeah. You guys are awesome.
Cool. Yeah, glad. I mean, and Roxanne's great. I mean, she'll, and we even have a training course for agency owners, that if you really want to, learn more. But look, the best thing you can do, obviously, get control of the LSA pages, and then it's just the 3 R's. It's reviews, radius, response rate. Right. This is why, I've said many times, this is the third time on this call, I said, this is why we started down the AI path, 2 years ago, is because we had a real problem that we needed to solve. Most people are like, AI, I got to figure out how to use it. I could do this ChatGPT thing. I can use it for this, that, and the other. But like I had one reason and one reason only that I wanted to get. I just wanted it to have a voice. I wanted it to be able to answer the damn phone. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be able to, respond to a chat. And because I know the number one problem, because I've talked to hundreds of business owners, and they can look at me dead in the eye and think that it's not a problem, and I know that it is. They're in denial, and so because I've seen it so many times, and so that's what I would do, and set up an AI agent, with your, with those anybody you have running local service ads. I've had, and I'll end on this. I've had business owners and actually now agency owners that found out about how to, LSA. They're in other countries. They've been on this call. They said, man, I started a business because you told me about LSA. It sounded really great. I followed your instructions. I set up, we set up an AI agent, a simple one. And it took a long time, but it's working. It's making it so that they don't have to get any, it's done. Like they don't have to, they know that their client's going to get leads consistently because they're solving that problem that nobody else is. So with that, hit me up on school.
Okay.
Any other questions? There's the number 619-304-5155. You can text us. Cy, thank you for being on. S, I'm going to be on a call with you with one of our enterprise clients in an hour at 4. And a big attorney firm, which by the way, that's the other thing. That's what S and I do. We do enterprise level stuff with AI, which is separate from what Accelerate Marketing that I'm the founder of does. Accelerate Marketing, Google Business Profile Optimization, local service ads optimization, and AI implementation for those businesses. That's what the Accelerate does. So let us know if you need anything help with that. If anybody's listening, we can help you with that. We can help you set up the AI agent, and we'll talk to you next week. All right.
Otherwise, quick question. The tap cards, right? So I can't get reviews for him through GHL because they own the website, and I can't do the A2P verification registration because they own the website, and I can't change the policies, and so I can't show A2P that he is buttoned up, and so I got to get him extricated, and I need to get him tap cards. I think those are my two priorities.
I would. And I would, you know, do a handwritten. Did you watch that other one?
I did. I have gotten them for other clients, but I wasn't sold on them until I heard your 2 Ws and that whole spiel. I wrote it down. That's where I'm going with them, because right now they're like, we're 8 days into this. Dan, we just need forward progress. And I'm like, we can only do forward progress now. It's going to be more manual. And then the other thing is, so I have an AI agent with GHL, but you know that you got to have the Google number to get the response rate in order for it to click. And so GHL doesn't work that way. You got to have a Twilio number or number through them. And so it's kind of a, you know, at least that's what it was.
Yeah. So that's the nice thing about our agent integrates directly with Go High Level through the OAuth. And that's a new thing, by the way. This just happened 2 weeks ago or ago. It used to be through an API. Now there's an actual OAuth that you go through. I just got off a call with a major immigration attorney that we work with in on the West Coast that we did the OAuth for, and it worked. And what happens is our AI agent, our conversations will show up in the conversations tab, just like the AI agent that Go High Level has. So no difference, and it speaks, 42 languages. It's one phone number for one agent. So, something to think about. I mean, we can fully integrate with Go High Level.
You guys sell that separately to like an agency like mine?
Yeah, we can. Yeah. If you're an agency, you probably, we can talk offline about that.
Okay.
But just message me or something, and we can help you out with that.
Okay.
Text
cool.
me. Yeah.
You guys are the best. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, guys.
Yes. Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Thank you so much.